Hey everybody, welcome back to my Pink Room of Doom. Hope you're doing well today. So this one's gonna be kind of a longer video. It's gonna be a discussion video. And it's gonna be a discussion about our good buddies, Guitar Center. So before we get into the video, please just make sure you're subscribed and everything, like the video, share it, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and get past all the YouTube stuff and go ahead and talk about Guitar Center. So it's everybody's favorite thing to make fun of in the guitar world, and for the most part I can see why. But I think a lot of people don't really understand Guitar Center. So really quickly, this video is going to be about a negative experience that I had with a Guitar Center, and then also a positive experience that I had with a Guitar Center in the same day. So this isn't just a video of me just totally dumping on Guitar Center, because I do a lot of business with Guitar Center. I have for years, and even after this experience that I'm going to talk about, I will continue to do business with Guitar Center, just probably not this particular Guitar Center that I'm going to tell you about first. So generally speaking, I think people understand that when you go to Guitar Center, they're not really lowballing you like a lot of people seem to think, or ripping you off. Robert's Guitar Dungeon actually has a pretty good video explaining like how Guitar Center buys used gear. I'll probably link it in the description if you want to go check that out. But I've watched that video before, and it gave me a really good understanding of how they work. So now when I go to Guitar Center to sell something, I understand kind of what I'm going to get for what I'm selling and kind of how they look at it. So I know how to look at it before I even take it in. And that's important because this ties into the story. So let's go ahead and get into that story. So as of now, I have a guitar on the way. It's actually in my city, and it should be here today anytime now. So generally when I buy a guitar, I buy it from Guitar Center used, and to either help pay for that purchase or to offset some of the cost or to make room, whatever the case may be, I will generally sell something back to them. Now, I'm a pretty informed consumer, I think. I understand that, if I was gonna sell this guitar, it was like $600 new, I'm not gonna go in there expecting to get, $550 back. I know that. I'm not gonna do that. Mainly because, it's played in, right? It's got some rusty screws on it. It's just got play scratches on it and everything. And it's kind of worn in, it's just, it's an older guitar. And I understand that. But if I was going to take this guitar in, I would get on the app, or the website, and I would look for something similar to this, maybe even this model in this color, and I would kind of see what they're selling for. And then look for ones that I think are in a condition that this one's in. So if I thought this one was in great condition, I would be looking for Epiphone Les Paul Traditional Pro 2s in great condition, maybe try to find this color and see what they're selling for. And then what you do is you take that price and you do 60% of that price, and that's generally what you can expect to get for your guitar. Now again, the tricky part of that is the condition. So if you think it's in great condition, but they deem it to be in good condition, there's generally not that big of a difference between like great and good. But if you go in expecting $300, you may end up getting $250, so just be aware of that. So anyway, into my story. So knowing all of that, into my story. I have another guitar on order. It should be here today. And I took a guitar to one of my local Guitar Centers, because there's two of them, to sell it. The one that I took was my Epiphone Les Paul Custom Plus, which I have a video on if you want to go watch that. And it was in good condition. I thought it was in good condition. Not great, it's in good condition. Mainly for this reason. So on the back, and then this is in the video, if you look on the back of the headstock there, it would have like a dent right there. It looks like someone bumped it against something, and that's just a dent. But generally, like, the body wasn't like scratched to hell and back and everything, and it looked good. Plus on top of that, I had replaced the switch, the pots and the caps, which I don't ever upgrade anything thinking I'm gonna get my money back, but that was it's a selling point. So anyway, so knowing that, I got on the app, did my research, found out kind of what my margin was with, what I would take and what I should get based on their policy. And I went to Guitar Center. So I went to the first Guitar Center. We'll call this the bad Guitar Center, right? Which I hate to say that, because I've been going to the same Guitar Center for years and years and years, and I've done a lot of business with them. So when I walked in there, there's two guys. There's a lessons guy and a new guy. And there's one manager there that I know, he's walking around, whatever. So I take the guitar up to him and I hand it to him, say, hey, want to sell this? And he says, okay, the lessons guy takes it. He's like, okay, cool, looking at it, says, this is really cool. Well, here comes new guy. New guy comes up behind him and he picks it up and he starts like, you know, just kind of like doing all that weird, like over analyzing. I'm like, dude, calm down. I get that's part of his job, but it's kind of like he was taking his job too seriously. So he does that, whatever, and he kind of starts looking at it, and he goes to look at the serial number and notices that little dent in it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to hide it. I mean, he's gonna see it. So he looks at it, and immediately his whole attitude flips. He's like, oh, well, this is fair condition. And the lessons guy kind of looks at him and is like, what? He's like, no, this is good condition. You know, he said, no, look, there's this dent on the back of the headstock. And the guy's like, well, it's the back of the headstock, it's fine. So the new guy takes it and runs to the manager and is like, just blowing up about this thing. Like, oh yeah, look at this, and look at the dent on the back. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, calm down. Like, what are you doing? He convinces the manager that yes, that little dent on the back of the headstock is enough with no cracks or nothing on the headstock, mind you. He convinces the manager that yes, this is fair condition, and takes it back. And the lessons guy is like, yeah, I'm sorry, but we got to put it in fair condition, and this is what you're going to get. And it was way, way lower than what I was expecting to get, right? Because again, I knew what condition they were going to put it in. They said good. I knew going in when the guy looked at it and said, yes, it's good condition. I knew that because I know how they work. I've done so much business with them. You know, this other guy just kind of jumped in and whatever, and that was a ripoff to me. That was them ripping me off, which really made me mad because again, I've gone to this Guitar Center forever and I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? You know, you can pull up my account and see how much business I've done. So anyway, so I say, no, I'm not doing that. I take my guitar and I leave. So later that day, I was actually at work at the time and I was on my lunch break at this Guitar Center. So later in the day on my way home, I stopped at the second Guitar Center, which I like to call the better of the Guitar Centers out of these two. And I walked in there and just, you know, immediately, you know, I'm greeted, whatever, walk up to the guy, say, hey, I want to sell this guitar to you. He says, cool, takes it, goes over to his computer, starts looking it up. I tell him about, you know, what it is, just, you know, say it's custom plus, you know, just, you know, I know that makes a little bit of a difference. He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. Looks it up. He's real nice. And I'm just kind of talking to him. So he picks up the guitar, starts looking at it, and he's just kind of, you know, glancing over it, says, okay, looks good, and goes to the back of the headstock. Doesn't even do a double take on the divot. And I looked at him and I said, oh yeah, by the way, you know, it's got that dent on the back, it was there. And he kind of looked at me, he's like, you know, don't worry about it, you know, it's all good. Says, you know, yes, you know, it's in good condition, you know. I was like, yeah, thank you. I know that. And then I tell him at that point, I'm like, you know, by the way, it's got a new switch in it, it's got new pots. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. He kind of fiddles with the switch and everything, looks at the knobs. And the dude says, okay, yeah, so we're gonna give you X amount of money. And the amount of money was more than what I was expecting. So of course I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, so I threw a little bit of extra money in there because you have the switch and the pots. And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, ring it up. Let's go ahead and do this. So, you know, he takes it, he writes me a check, and I leave. And I leave happy because I'm able to take that money and put it towards my new guitar. I guess the lesson with this video, Guitar Center is not in the business to rip people off, I don't think. Based on my experiences, they're pretty fair, right? And I think it helps if you are informed more on how they work, like I was saying, if you do your research and you kind of get the mindset of what realistically you're going to get for your gear. And to me, the second Guitar Center was more on it as far as not scrutinizing every little thing about a piece of used gear. Because to me, the whole thing that made me mad was that the new guy at the first Guitar Center was just like so anal about every little detail. And then when he saw that dent on the back, it just set him off. And again, if you've watched to this point, you might be thinking, well, of course there's a dent on the guitar, why would... But here's the thing. I made a TikTok not too long ago, and it was showing something in their use section. It was an Epiphone Les Paul Black Beauty. So the black one with 3 humbuckers. They had it on sale for $500 in like fair condition, which I think it was poor condition because the headstock was completely obliterated. So I'm like, okay, you're selling that for $500, fair condition, with a shattered headstock. I see Gibsons on the shelf in stores all the time, broken headstocks, still selling for like $800, $900. I'm like, you're high if you think that I'm gonna pay that. But a divot on the back of the headstock with a guitar that plays, functions, doesn't have a headstock break, and you're gonna lowball me? In saying that, I think that I'm not gonna be going back to that first Guitar Center. The second Guitar Center, I've always had more positive experiences there. I've had friends that work there and everything. And aside from selling gear to them, just generally like their stock is better, their store's cleaner. You know, to me, that Guitar Center is just, it's changed my immediate dislike of that other Guitar Center to think, okay, I'm gonna go to this one. You know what? That one's closer anyway, so the win-win. So in conclusion, if you made it this far, basically it's do your research before you go to Guitar Center. It helps to be well acquainted. I know that seems like a rule number one, but it helps to just be nice to the people that work there. Be well acquainted with them and just be realistic about what you're going to get. And don't take anything less than if you do your research properly. You know, if you do all of that, you do your due diligence, don't take anything less than what you know you're supposed to get based on how they work. And that goes for any guitar shop, not just Guitar Center. Don't get ripped off. Don't get lowballed. Get your worth. So I know this was kind of a long discussion video, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say if you've had any kind of experiences. What are your experiences with Guitar Center? Are they generally good? Are they generally bad? Do you not like Guitar Center? Let me know in the comments. Again, please make sure you're subscribed, and thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you next time.